Hi, this is Julie Federico. Happy April. Happy Child Abuse Awareness Month. April is the month that we stop and work hard as a community to try and prevent child abuse. I want to talk to you today about how easy it is to protect your kids from child abuse and a few steps that you can take to keep your kids from unwanted touch. When people talk about child abuse prevention, a lot of times they get confused. Parents get really confused. They think child abuse prevention is consent, that it's where babies come from, and that has nothing to do with body safety. You want to teach your children about body safety, and body safety is body safety, which means your body is your own. If anyone touches you in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable, tell a trusted adult. You want to say this to your children over and over again, especially if you're sending them to daycare, summer camp, over to sleep over at friends, or going over, maybe you have shared custody with a spouse and they're going to another home where you're not around to watch them. I think children as young as 6 months old can understand this information. And I say that because when my daughter was 18 months old, I had a paper copy of my book, Some Parts Are Not for Sharing. I read it to her, and we were carving pumpkins a month later, and she says to me, "Mom, do pumpkins have private parts?" And I'm like, aha, I'm a genius. I'm onto something here. So young kids can understand this information. Basically, you say to them, your body is your own. If anyone touches you in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable, I want to know. And when I mean anyone, I mean anyone. And that includes your husband, your cousin, your uncle, your neighbor, your mailman, your pastor, your hairdresser, your therapist. When I mean anyone, I cast that net very wide because you don't know who is going to harm your child. Child abuse is all about access. So you need to think who has access to your child. When I used to do in-person child abuse trainings before the virus, I had a picture of a little 12-year-old boy and a kid from America's Most Wanted. And I said, who's more likely to abuse your child? Everybody kicked the America's Most Wanted kid, guy. And that's not true. The 12-year-old is way more likely to abuse your child than America's Most Wanted guy. And you can kind of figure out you're not going to give your child access to the America's Most Wanted guy. You're not going to send your child to a fair with someone from America's Most Wanted. You're not going to ask them to babysit. You're not going to ask them to pick your kids up at school. The 12-year-old has access to your kid, so he is much more likely to abuse your child. And that's an eye-opening thing for a lot of people to think about. People mostly think that child abuse happens at a Walmart. Child abuse does happen at a Walmart. But 9 times out of 10, children are harmed by someone they know, what we call loved ones, which I kind of hate that term. So if you love someone, why would you do this to them? I can't figure that part out. So I'm just trying to prevent child abuse. If you have these conversations and talk to your kid, they will be protected. You want to get to them before the perpetrator gets to them. When I first started doing this work years ago, 5 was the average age children are approached. Somewhere about 7 years ago that changed. Now it's the tender age of 4. So you only have 2 years they're verbal and 2 years they're not verbal to talk to them. The nice thing about my book is it is for kids as young as 6 months old. I would say up until 9 years old. You read this information to them, and if you don't know what to say, you can play my video for them if you want, but if you don't know what to say, just read the book to them. The book speaks volumes, and all it says is, don't let anyone harm you. If they harm you, I want to know. And that's how simple it is. This is not about consent. This is not about sexuality. This is not about where babies come from. All of that's a different topic. This is about body safety. So when you talk to your kids about body safety, don't lump other topics into it. You want to keep it pure and keep it simple and easy. And kids will understand it. If you give them permission to tell, they will tell. If you say nothing, they will say nothing. And this child abuse problem will continue. I want this to be the last generation of uneducated kids. I want this to be the last generation of kids that haven't got the body safety talk. I want this to be pervasive and in our communities and in our churches and at Girl Scouts and Cub Scouts. And I want people to just start talking about this. If you start talking about child abuse is built on a house of cards. If you take out one card, which is silence, the whole thing falls. And after it falls, it's over. So silence is the main evil when you are talking child abuse. I don't think it's the perpetrator, because they can be stopped. It's the silence. If you say nothing, your kids will say nothing. And then you will never know if something happens to them. Please talk to your kids today. Please read them my book or any of the other body safety books that are out there. Another one is a good one for older kids. It's called I Said No by Kimberly King. That's a wonderful book. So please protect your children. There is no greater gift you can give your children than the gift of safety. Happy Child Abuse Awareness Month. And my name's Julie Federico. You can find me at juliefederico.com, or some parts are not for sharing. Bye-bye.